cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old Gotsy's sleigh. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old Gotsy's sleigh. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old Gotsy's sleigh. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Sing through the fog, old Gotsy's sleigh. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7.
You heard the sound of the stream starting. There we go. Bow tie on. Very important. How is everybody doing? I don't even have my... Yeah, take off my badge. Back home living my life. Up we got Tordread versus fishnetCarousel. Which is the one I almost did before being reminded of a chill stream. Tordread is very handily yellow comment. I don't know if Tordread is like dedicated to a country yet, or if Tordread just plays the randoms. Okay. Adder mirror on Scorpion operation. That's pretty tough. I think I would prefer Jake. Jess, maybe? The problem I'm seeing with Adder is that there's no comm tower. So Adder will never reach that 20% firepower threshold. Or normally he does with his power spam. So Jake can do it. Attacking from planes with powers, and Jess can do it with just vehicles, but Adder can never do it. Now there is often a lot of mechs that are used, and in that case Adder will have that to his advantage. Oh, the king of the penguins is pretty stallable for sure. So they both decided to go Adder. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, neither of them will be able to get 2 KOs on properties. But I'm sure they have different plans for how to deal with that. So far, their openings are looking... Well, they're no longer looking identical. Okay, fishnetCarousel is going to go for this capture rather than the airport. Like, so they have now deviated. We'll see. We'll see if Tordread's earlier airport ends up mattering. We have a tank come out from Fishnet over here, and Tordread can build a copter should he wish, and he does. So the earlier airport timing has come into play perfectly. And Fishnet can't really build an anti-air this turn without a double base skip, which would be pretty expensive. So this copter is going to get guaranteed one capture interrupt over here should it like to. Well, actually, I guess not, because a copter can get built here and suck up a copter first strike to cover this property. We'll see how Fishnet decides to deal with this. We do have an artillery to follow this up. That's probably for this area. It's a very big choke point area. So indirects are very happy there. Copters are very good on this map. Are Sidewinders more common than the Adder Mirror? I don't think so. Because you're often using your powers for the stat boost as well as the... Yeah, you really want that +10/+10. Although, when there's no comm tower, it could be that the super gets better. Because you just never reach that +20/+20. So we do have... Or that +20 attack. So we do have the copter build to try and defend this property. And then blocked the way. It does leave just a free hit over here, but that's not too big of a loss for Fishnet. Although the infantry will die, which does kind of suck. Tordread doing just fine in economy currently. And this tank is really sad, actually. This is pretty nice movement for Tordread, because the copter comes over here, you know, it gets this infantry kill, which is pretty nice, but it's also setting itself up to trap this tank in between itself and the infantry artillery combo. So that's pretty nice. We have another copter to follow this up, so Tordread's going to have a very nice unit count advantage. No copter, oh no, there's one copter built. Fishnet versus 2. This is looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, Tordread's triple walling this. Could also just copter chain this, but I guess Tordread really wants to build it. Do like double tank infantry to deal with the anti. Let's make that move. Okay. We have a nice little block here to get property. This tank charges forward. Anti-air can't defend it. Well, it can defend this tile. Copter can still hit me. This is a little bit of an expensive swing in. But if Fishnet is able to permanently hold this or prevent that property, it'd be worth it for sure. Digging the song, glad to hear it. I don't. So like this is a case where I don't really agree with Fishnet going in to hit this, because it only delays the capture by 1 turn and it costs an entire infantry to do so. And the same thing over here. So like we delay this property for 1 turn, we lose 6 health on a tank. That's a really steep price. And if Fishnet decides to stay here and interrupt longer, we'll just lose the entire tank. So I only recommend going for attacks like this if you have follow-up. We play in Scorpion Operation is true. Whoa. Fishnet cancels their own capture to move over here. Really insisting on stopping this. Okay. It will only delay that capture for a turn because there was the backup. So this will make it so this property is thoroughly denied. But I don't know if this is a fight that Fishnet really wants to get into. Just because we are probably going to see some shenanigans to stop this anti-air from reaching the copter. Well, I guess I don't think you can we can make it guaranteed that it can't reach the copter, but you can make it very punishing to attack the copter. And you'll get a trade of like tank and anti-air to kill one copter, and that's never ideal. Tank and anti-air. Tordread gets this property. And this one looking really happy. Oh, okay. I thought Tordread might go all out, but it's just going to... Oh, isn't... Okay. I think I would have killed off the tank and been like, sure, anti-air, you can come into my artillery range and my tank range. And I'll just take that 2 vehicle for 1 vehicle trade, and my 1 vehicle was a copter. It's like a huge unit count advantage. And also value advantage. Tordread would like to preserve the copter instead. I disagree, but I can understand it. We'll see if Fishnet is able to deny this. This guy denied for quite a bit of turns, like 5 or so, to make it worth losing 6 hit points on the tank. Just looking at purely money-wise. Okay. Ooh. Tordread does go for this hit. It's safe, you know, as long as Fishnet isn't able to get an adder power. Although it is copter chain, so that is very helpful for sure when it comes to versus copter. Wow, a lot of units didn't move over here. No fear of this anti-air getting hit. Just keep forward a tiny bit here. Single swing. Okay, we're not doing any fancy here. There's chilling. Staying out of artillery range. Okay. Second copter charges in here. This is probably the intention of being covered by an anti-air. Tordread has been getting some really nice infantry pickoffs. Yeah, and here's the anti-air covering. Okay. Everything backed off over here. The artillery is not even covering this, like, blocking the city anymore. Maybe Fishnet will be able to get this, and is actually currently up 1k due to owning this city. But down 6 units at the end of Tordread's turn, to be fair. Okay, we didn't want to dive in there. Could have killed off the copter, but didn't have any good follow-up to deal with the anti-air and other copter strike. Just gonna move on down here. Tordread finds an attack against a bunch of infantry up here. Again, there's no 2-hit KOs in this matchup because there's no comm tower. So even if power's popped, well, if power's popped, there's like a 30% chance that you can get the kill on the property. I think there's some thinking of implementing this into Advanced Wars by Web. Not necessarily making Advanced Wars by Web into this, though. Ooh, so Tordread lets this city go without a fight. Still up a lot of units, but I mean, kind of willingly going down 2k in income is pretty rough. Now these infantry are now all injured and they will not make very good walls. Is definitely something to consider about this situation. Where you can definitely leverage this. Do some damage. We have a sacrifice. Break through here. Now, there's only 2 tanks. So they can kill this off. Oh, there's 2 tanks and a copter. So I guess the copter is going to hit the artillery. Ooh, a side slip? Does this reach now? Oh, this reaches now. That's why. Okay. So it's oftentimes really risky to be the first side slip in an adder mirror. Because the thing that makes adder really good is that his charge bar is 2 for the normal and then 3 for the super. Which means if you have a full charge bar, you can do double normal power without having to get any more charge. And if you do it right, you can often get triple normal powers in a row. But as soon as you run out of all of your charge, that becomes a lot, impossible to do back to back to back. So in this case, like Tordread barely got to the normal power charge and then used it immediately. So that means he's going to have absolutely no charge for the future, the following turns. So he kind of has to do a lot of damage to make it worth having used it. I mean, this is pretty good damage for sure. But we'll see. I mean, even just a normal power from Fishnet will allow this copter strike. We'll have this copter strike. Artillery is not covering these vehicles. Still be 2 possible tank attacks. Maybe. Probably not because the infantry are blocked. And this wall will be unbreakable. Okay, so Fishnet immediately goes for the normal power. And usually what you'd like to do is... the pain. Normally what you'd like to do is go for the attacks that don't matter yet so you can get a little bit more charge. Here, but there'll still be a huge charge advantage for Fishnet. Some copter strikes. I guess this actually doesn't have any chip on. But I still would have attacked from a different side with these guys. Okay, this is looking pretty good for Tordread. I mean, the medium tank has come out. But these copter fights are definitely looking in Tordread's favor. Because these 2 are going to come in and get involved in this fight. The anti-air is still alive to take out this copter. And there's plenty of infantry to get the walling going. That copter gets taken out. You can see how far behind Tordread is in terms of charge. I mean, this is looking mighty good. Triple property threat. Go down. Those front shifting copters did quite the number. Join. A little breakthrough here. Good spot. The copters go up here. I like it. The reason why the copters are going up here is because there's no anti-air over here. There is an anti-air here. And at this point, it's going to be really tough to build an anti-air because these tanks are staring at the base. Ooh, we joined tanks there. I think just gets a smack. Not quite sure what's going on with this. Definitely, I would have had one infantry come back and kill this guy off. So those were the attacks that didn't need the power. And this is why you should have 11 anti-airs ready. Oh, Okay, the fight's looking pretty decent. Although, only one artillery will be kind of tough to do. One health copters are going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. They make for amazing blockers. Okay. So Fishnet is kind of insisting that this is going to be, if Tordread keeps fighting here, it'll just be an overextension with these like medium tank copter buys. And that might be true. Tordread doesn't have the best units for attacking into this. There's only one artillery, but there are still quite a few infantry. Insisting on fighting these copters. The anti-air could have come in here and hit this copter, and then this guy could have stood next to the base. So I'm not... It stands next to the base anyway. It could have attacked the medium tank and done some damage there. I don't quite know what Tordread's up to there. But this play here is really annoying to deal with. Okay, medium tank gets a nice hit on a tank. Tordread's in an annoying spot because there's an attack coming in here, but he's also like, you know, heavily invested in the attack over here, so he'd like to continue supplying reinforcements. He also can't just like let this happen. Yeah, so the reinforcements are drying up for this fight now, while also diving in deep. That's usually a recipe for disaster, but we will see. There's still a lot of stuff here. Tordread has now taken the 4K income advantage. The medium tanks are kind of forced to just hit infantry, which is not what they would like to do with their lives. There, takes out the mech. Got kind of a trap on the medium tank. The artillery isn't covering this spot, so the medium tank can easily get freed. But, you know, it's kind of trapped. I'm a little bit unsure of this anti-air placement because it can get hit by it can be hit by Tordread's anti-air, which will do a pretty good number on it, and then the copter will be unanswerable. Looks like Fishnet recognizes that it builds an anti-air here. Ooh, no copter built though. Another side slip out of Tordread, who's still looking really good in the unit count. Has pretty much sustained that unit count ever since those few infantry pickoffs. Is the idea of Scorpion operation that the corner push has to eventually gain access to the mountain pass, like Tordread just did, to rotate mid? Seems like if not, you strand your tanks in Narnia after corner flip. Yeah, this is a pretty common approach. You don't have to do... you can definitely try and stall this out a little bit better. And because if your opponent does, kind of like what you were saying, if your opponent goes for this corner and then they fail to get past this little section, then you can just attack their HQ. But there'll be a whole bunch of stuff to go after because their units are just stuck in it. Ooh, medium tank just stays here, kills the tank, and then the artillery gets hit. Very nice. Okay, zooming up here. Here's the anti-air and anti-air hit. Makes this copter really happy. I'm not quite sure what's up with this artillery. Then, whoa, tank survives. See all the blocking of the low health units, which is really good. Yeah, the medium tanks have only infantry and like 1 health units to attack. Sad days for medium tanks. It is looking very GG. The base is still alive though. Okay. I think these are just attacks for the GG. Either that or there's something amazing with the super that I don't see. I think those are just attacks for the GG. Surprised this infantry survived. The no comm tower life. fishnetCarousel resigns. Well played. It was well played by Tordread and Fishnet. It was a very good breakthrough, and the copter switch did a really big number on this this base airport combination. They just couldn't supply the anti-airs to hold it. Dark Raider Sami versus Olaf. Stitch Monster. Just build more anti-air. Easy. Yeah. You know, it's so easy to say. Just don't get outflanked. Tordread's very early copter did a lot of damage. Okay, so I've been told that Sami is like tier 2 on this map. I still maybe I'm about to be convinced. For those that don't know, in standard, Sami is a tier 2 CO, unless it's base light. And in fog, Sami is often a tier 4 CO. She's just so much worse in fog. And I can say that as someone who's played quite a bit of Sami in fog. You can definitely do some stuff. But you don't have those same infantry fights like you do in standard. The bullying isn't so much of a infantry on infantry thing. It's usually vehicles on infantry, and that makes Sami really, really sad. Rushing contested properties and winning them with your beefy infantry is also much worse in fog, because what happens is, because in standard when you do that, you can always see what when your opponents are going to go and try and challenge those and what they're sending to challenge those, and you just don't get to see that in fog before. So oftentimes if you rush an early property, it's nice that you won that, and then your opponent's army comes over because they captured closer properties and they have more money earlier. So their army just comes over and takes that property from you, and you become really sad. So Sami loses a lot of those advantages. It's also harder to win with Victory March because you can't see all the properties that you can threaten, and your opponent will often be planting on them, on the properties. So there's just, there's just a lot of factors that make Sami a lot worse in Fog of War due to standard. It's both the map types. As you can see, this is a really big map. And it's much more open than standard maps. So vehicles, they get to run around. So it's both those map types and the fact that the vision makes it so you can't have your builds countering units that you see being built on the other side of the map, and like having your matchups exactly how you'd like. But we'll see how Sami works here. So there hasn't been any recon builds, and recons are of course really good against Sami. Usually against Sami, I would expect a lot of recons being built, and they just go straight over here and fight all these infantry. Hey, Leskalarner. But it looks like Olaf is going to just try and build T-copters like Sami's doing. And Sami's going to be better at using T-copters, just because her transport copters have +1 range. And then Olaf is also going to go in the artillery to break this pipe seam, just like Sami. So I think this is basically the perfect opening for Sami. It's transport infantry, like transport plus infantry against transport plus infantry, and Sami will be very happy with that. Many infantry are needed. So like in this case, as long as it's just infantry and there hasn't been a recon sent over here, Sami should win this pretty single-handedly. I wouldn't challenge Sami. Yeah, that's... So here, you just let the city go as Olaf. Challenging Sami is very dangerous with just infantry. So, you know, just wait till a vehicle shows up and then take it back. As we see here, Sami's pretty happy with how that played out. This one health infantry had to move here so that there is still vision on this guy. Okay, copter strike. Still no comm towers owned by Sami, so I think this pipe seam would actually break next turn unless the copter sticks around. A tiny bit embarrassing. Ooh, the 2 health infantry dives in here. I think that's worth it. Sami infantry are definitely more valuable than Olaf infantry. Okay. There's still no recons or even tanks, so things are looking very good for Sami. Looks like the infantry was able to finish that off. Those 2 health infantry got away with its kill. Okay. Now, when we're talking about just Sami versus Olaf, you would expect Sami to have a much stronger early game, especially with these unit compositions, just because she's got a better day-to-day. Winter Fury will be amazing when you're dealing with really large numbers of units. But a fun fact, mechs do not get slowed by snow except on mountains. So Sami can have very large mech armies that can still zip around if she uses like a victory march in the snow. Pop. Okay, now we got recon anti-air. I would highly recommend, if you're fighting Sami, to just go with a ton of recons early on. You often won't be able to stop the captures, but you'll be able to kill the infantry. You hopped on to say, I hate no comm tower Von Bolt versus Von Bolt. Yeah. Yeah, everything you've learned about wall breaking is false. Yeah, an anti-air can't one-shot infantry on planes. It's true. It's true. You've seen this match? Yeah, you've played it. Okay, so this copter's looking pretty happy over here. But Dark Raider is doing really well economically. you have to be a little careful to not lose all of your infantry. So this is one of the things that makes Sami really weird to play, is that your best, like, all of your day-to-day bonuses go to your infantry, so it makes you want to use them to, like, trade out your infantry for their infantry, like so. It'd be like, oh, look at that trade. I did 7, I took 1. It's amazing. But it's just so much worse for you to lose infantry than it is for your opponent, because Sami has a negative day-to-day that hits all of her direct vehicles. So if your infantry go in for these attacks and they like trade out with your opponent's infantry and like vehicles come over and kill them, and then you're left with your opponent has vehicles and you have vehicles, but your vehicles are just worse, you suddenly become very sad. Because not only does your day-to-day work against you, but both your normal power and your super only affects your foot soldiers. So weirdly, even though Sami's infantry are like buffed and therefore better at fighting, you oftentimes don't want to fight with them. Like, look at how this trade ended up. It's very unfortunate. Air units do count as direct vehicles, yeah. Sami has worse copters. Now, something that does go in Sami's favor here is that this is a double comm tower map. So, when Sami pops a power, her vehicles reach that 20% threshold, which is very nice. And because it's a double comm tower map, there's more comm towers available for Sami to victory march and take. And it's not uncommon for double comm tower maps to result in Sami hitting victory march and becoming 4 comm towers to 0. And suddenly, you know, her negative day-to-day isn't quite so bad for her vehicles. To dive in here, I don't like doing this. For all of my experience in Fog of War, the number one thing that brought me from the 1100s to skyrocketing up to the top was stopping myself from charging forward with copters. Now, I was doing it way more aggressively than this, but even so, copters attacking on the front lines is almost always not worth it, because your opponents will, I mean, they're going to have anti-airs. Let's be respectful towards them. So what happens here? A copter's worth 9,000, a tank is worth 7,000. We do 6 damage to a tank, and then we lose an entire copter, and it's just so brutal. The value trade. So instead, what I like to do with copters in Fog of War is I like to have them be defensive units. So if my opponent attacks in with like a tank, for instance, then I can go copter strikes tank and then tank strikes tank. And then the copter's still amongst my units, I can help defend it, and I like take no damage killing off their tank. Compa had 5 AA ready for your 7 air units. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's like, unless you know your opponent doesn't have anti-air, you basic it for that Neo tank. Don't send them in like that. Like, they're really good. They're really good defensively. Like, this is great positioning with these copters. Very hard to strike them. They can front switch very easily because they don't care about terrain, and they're protecting stuff. And if you use your tanks and you like spot the anti-air or like 2 anti-airs or something in their army, and you're able to dive in and kill them, and then suddenly you can unleash your copters that had been defensive units before. suddenly they can become offensively very powerful. His fog maps are also really big. So if your opponent's been a little bit lax on their anti-air production and they suddenly lose their only anti-air on that front, you can get like 3 turns of just free copter swings. But it does require, you know, that you preserve the copters. Okay, so Olaf is really far behind in unit. Well, not really far behind, but far behind in unit value, but is up in unit count, which is usually a really bad sign for Sami, because that means that Sami has more vehicles and Olaf has more infantry. And this is definitely true. 15 infantry to 22. And the problem for Sami in that respect is that it usually means that more and more infantry get killed off. Like so. We're now down to a single, excuse me, a single Sami infantry on this entire front. Which means that Sami is becoming a negative CO over here. Although there's also not other units. They're all down here. Now I played against Deegis in a Sami versus Olaf match on a base light map. Absolutely miserable. Do not recommend. But I know once that first Winter Fury hits, life gets very tough for Sami. I know, saving Private Penguin. What's wrong with teching up early is Sami to get more infantry. So the problem is, that was like my first gut reaction to how to play Sami in Fog. Was like, oh, I'll just build more medium tanks so I can build more infantry. But especially in Fog, but also, you know, somewhat in Standard, medium tanks need other vehicles to support them. Because what's going to happen to you is your army of many infantry and like 3 medium tanks is going to fight. All of your infantry are going to get killed off by their tanks and anti-airs, and your medium tanks will have no vision. They can't see stuff, and they will just get surrounded by your opponent's infantry and then killed off by artillery or copters. You will be really, really sad. You'll be like, oh, this, like, I got more infantry. But remember, as I was saying, Sami's infantry are stronger in attacking. They're just as flimsy on the defense. But you don't want to fight with them, because that means they die. It's very weird. You do like the artillery and bomber creeping over the HQ? I know. This does look... Zoom, I assume. This does look very much like a dive in on the HQ situation. Which is something that Sami's very good at. Yeah, like this. This is just throwing infantry away. I assume it's to stop the comm tower from getting taken, so that's available for this HQ dive. And that's definitely a misplay on Olaf's part. Should definitely have started this comm tower capture this turn. Okay. Speedboat's now being threatened. So there's a few things that Olaf can do here. Sami's going in this turn. So if you're like against Sami in these kind of situations and Sami's like breaking down your HQ, I would highly recommend investing in like a fighter. A fighter is an amazing unit for blocking your HQ. Ooh, we have a fancy wall break there with a sacrifice. And if you can also build a stealth to stand on your HQ if you're really cheeky and you got a lot of forethought. Because, although this is a double comm tower map, so it might not work, but Sami has minus firepower on her fighters, and she will not usually one-shot your stealths. It can make her very sad. But this is very good for Dark Raider. Broke the black boat and then made sure to stand on the HQ with a big unit, because that stops Olaf from standing on the HQ with a big unit. My Sonya stealth stood no chance against Combi fighter aiming to start an HQ cap. So here, as Olaf, there's like a couple things you can do. For one, if I'm Olaf and I'm looking at this situation, I don't think I can stop the HQ cap from starting here. So what I would do is I would kill this black boat. I would start the HQ cap here. I would put a whole bunch of blockers. And then I would trade. I don't know. I would have to see what the power charge looks like for my opponent over here. I would probably just delete all of these units, and then I'd make it snow, and then rely on these blockers to take the HQ before Sami can take this one, because you have to stop Sami from getting the super. And I assume if you have the blockers here and you make it snow, I would assume that Sami can't actually get through. And I think, yeah, like this move just without these attacks. This is me assuming that artillery plus copter plus tank can kill this. And it can for sure. Okay. So, like, doing this, but deleting this would win. Pretty sure. I assume this is going to hit this team tank. Oh, it looks like it still wins with the copter. Never mind, it still wins. I don't think there's a way to kill this off. Anti-air is gone. Dark Raider resigns. That's if there was an anti-air available, this would still have broken through though. So it's a little risky. GG. Yeah, that's a very big gamble. Another case of bring more anti-air, yeah. I know the tank had to do 2 damage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure could have just deleted these units and then there wouldn't be enough ways of Sami to get charged to get a super and then to capture the HQ at all. GG. If he didn't buy the second medium tank, he could have afforded a battleship. He could have kept the anti-air down. That would have been fancy. That would have been very fancy. Let me drag this. We got Panic in the City against Izanagi. Jake mirror. Better than an Olaf mirror, it's true. You were very close to winning it. Sami is really hard to play in Fog, I'm telling you. You have a Jake mirror. Jake mirrors are pretty interesting. Both players are kind of incentivized to build artillery, as we see. And as soon as there's artillery present, suddenly Jake is a whole bunch of decisions between using normal power and using super. So it's a pretty good mirror for that reason. It's not like an Olaf mirror where everything's on the super and the first super is also like really good. You made it. Got Jake gaming. Okay, this artillery is on the mission. It looks like it's showing up everywhere it needs to be a little too late. Although it can still lock down this property, so that's okay. We have a little tank stare off. Ooh, I guess this guy's going to go for the interrupt. Rather than... Otherwise it would move here to go for the city. Yeah, okay, artillery does go here to stop this city. We do go for the interrupt. And, kind of guard with the tank. It's guarding against every tile except the city tile. So Izanagi will have to give up this capture for this tank shot. The artillery isn't able to come over and support. I don't like that infantry strike. I guess it's fine. Quote unquote. Yeah, I guess that's fine. You still come out on top unit count. I don't think Panic in the City really wants to attack in and finish this off. Or we're about to find out. Who does decide to do so? Okay, this will get really, really, really spicy as the artillery is going to be able to cover this tank attack. The oh, I see. But we have a nice copter. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes it a lot better with the copter by covering the tank, and then the anti-air is not present yet. Okay, that makes it great. And it makes attacking with the infantry over here really bad. I would not stop this capture now. I would only stop this capture if I saw something on the next turn that it really matters that they have the comm tower. Because there's no support over here. You just come in here, you would deny this for a single turn, and then you would lose your infantry, and then you're also having to give up the money you get from this capture. So there would have to be some really good reasons to interrupt this for a turn. Copter looking nice. He's in the Panic in the City, looking really good income wise here. They end up 2k ahead, and then Izanagi's going to end their turn 1k down. You can see the value this artillery has had over here with all of his little infantry friends. Well, this tank can, if it wants to, this tank can come in here and attack, but it's always very dangerous to do that. Because infantry love to just give your tanks a big old hug when the tank comes in to say hello. They're very friendly like that. And then suddenly another tank shows up, the artillery shows up, and the tank just, takes a nice trip to its maker. Over here, does look a little bit safer to do that. There's no infantry that has a move to this tile. Ooh. And luckily this copter can't reach. Penguins swarm in flocks. Okay. Moves up over here. Terry will take a little while to get over here. That infantry gets taken out. And now it's going to be like, these cities are the next ones on the list. And it looks like Panic in the City is going to get this one pretty easily. Oh, we have a hug. There's no way to hug this tile though, so the tank can get out of there. The hug does approach. Interesting. So Izanagi goes with the double tank buy over here, and that kind of means that they're giving up on trying to take this property. And at the same time, they're not defending this one. So Panic in the City is about to have a 3k income lead. Although this property, you know, it's under a little bit of threat, one could say. But the copter. Okay, so having some artillery or in like you even build a rocket, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, a rocket buy could be good here. It's a little expensive because you have to base. Oh, you don't have to base skip for the rocket, but you'd have to base skip for the attack. Oh, we do have a rocket buy. Okay. Oh, there we go. You like the sound of a rocket? I mean, Jake rockets, they're pretty good. They get +1 range with that normal power and super. Life cold and full of feathers. All rockets are good? I don't know about that. Oh, looks like Izanagi broke this pipe seam. That does allow for some front shifts. I'm okay with this, I think. Maybe I'm not. It depends. I mean, Panic in the City doesn't fire with the rocket here, I don't think. You just hit with this infantry, and then the rocket takes a step forward, and suddenly the rocket is really happy because it's standing on planes in a really defensive position. Smack. I don't like this. The reason I don't like this is because it's moving out of the defensive position. Like this had rivers and mountains and it's next to a base for easy blocks. This is moving close to tank range. It's also on the city rather than on the plains. So now you have to like invest a whole bunch of stuff in defending it. The surprise of Max Rocket and Fog is worth it. Max does have decent rockets. I will say that. Going from 5 to 4 range isn't so bad. It's not as bad as like 3 to 2. It doesn't necessarily mean that you want to build them, but they can definitely do stuff. Spoiler alert, you underestimate this push. Okay, things are looking really good for Panic in the City. Up 4k. You can't what is this rocket doing? Bad rocket. Bad rocket. No. Do not go to front lines, rocket. Well, the rocket's on a journey. I guess it wants to lock the opposing base over here. I think the city just gets taken. The entire Panic in the City army moved over here. So, yeah, this just gets taken. Very good for Izanagi. I do like this artillery, just locking this down. Another artillery locking down this property would be great. You're panicking in the city this turn? Okay. Well, I did say I liked the artillery over here. But I meant another artillery. I didn't mean move this artillery from defending this property. Rocket is approaching the base. What is this? Panic in the city is definitely panicking. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't this get hit? Isn't this artillery shot, infantry shot? And then you can just go infantry. You can just use a tank, I guess. Infantry tank kills this. Anti-air hits the stealth? It's not dead. It's really unhappy. What? No! Oh my... Well, okay. Oh, the infantry can't reach here. That's why. The infantry can't walk over the 2 mountains. Yeah. 1 mountain too far. Okay, never mind. It's fine. The stealth doesn't get hit this turn. Unless Izanagi would have to get the normal power. Confidence in Go7, I know. Can't even read the map. Okay. The stealth does have to spend its turn hiding this turn. Which, you know, kind of sucks. But it blocks. Yeah, that's why you always play Sturm. Well, the normal power couldn't have been used just because of the charge. But yeah. The rocket is approaching this base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9 in a row. There's the fighter. Okay, the stealth seems to have held the line. Izanagi has managed to even up the economy though, which is a lot better than being 4k down. Wasn't able to stop this when he captured this. And again, the city will be okay there. Rocket just chilling. Fighter's on its way to try and take out the stealth. Okay. Lots of units just kind of on the field. Panic in the City is really far ahead unit value-wise. Like half a turn. Do they just income? Oh. We attacking? Okay. Rocket's still chilling. I don't think this rocket is fired. Stealth goes after an infantry. I love it. Value. Ooh, okay. We get the fighter to stare at the other fighter. Here, kill that copter. Is that in fighter range? What is that move? Question mark? Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess these infantry are blocking the way. Block rock? For like 5 vehicles? He's not here aside. Okay. That's definitely a little weird at the end there. But I guess the panic and the city attack here worked out very, very well. The stealth managed to hold this down. I'm impressed. So can someone explain the last turn? I assume what happened was that Izanagi missed that this fighter was now in fighter range. And then proceeded to panic. Would be my guess. Yeah, probably didn't even see the fighter. The frontline rocket was too strong. It never fired a shot, but man, did they go on a journey. You woke up to it, he made a video thinking it was a Go7 upload. It's an anti-air range if the tanks get broken. Yeah. I mean, I assumed you wanted to cover your... I'm surprised that Izanagi backed off from the stealth. You can definitely tank stealth hits. They're not that scary. Although, I mean, it was in the way for sure. We have Poland versus depth. I know. Well, I'd be very worried for your rocket where it was, because walling against Jake Block Rock is hard to do, and it will just die in one tank shot. The Block Rock. Ah, this game. Hello, Poland. It has been lurking, waiting for this for this game in particular. We've got Hawke versus Hawke. When do we get Go7 live games? Is it Thursday? I'll play some live games, I believe. Okay. Not seeing. There's no early artillery break for Poland here. We do have one for ADUP 999. We have a delayed artillery break for Poland. You can go for the double one. I think if you like, you can choose to go for the artillery down here first to lock this city and then break this pipe seam as you break this pipe seam, and you just like sandwich this base in between 3 bases and an airport. It gets really sad. Ooh, AWBW999 goes for the artillery over here. That we'll see. That looks really tough to me, because the one thing artillery love is when they have units to defend them. And the one thing a lone base has against multiple bases is less units. So I'd be concerned about the artillery running into a tragic fate. We do have a nice kill off here. Pick off to get the city back. The danger of going for forward cities without enough protection. Poland prefers this delayed strat now. Is that because of the city? Okay. So Poland's got a... Actually, I don't know if Poland breaks... No, okay. So Poland has this stuff covered, even though it doesn't look like it's covered, because the pipe seam will get broken next turn by the artillery shot, and then suddenly the tanks can flood through. So, like, these guys can both reach the artillery. And that has to be dealt with. In this case, the tank is going to move into block. The tank will just kind of die. And the medium tank has to be built. Try and cover that. We'll see if Poland decides to dive in here. I think it's probably worth it, because you can also build a response to cover it. Okay, the city gets delayed to delay this capture. It makes sense. This pipe seems at 2. Lab starts being captured by Poland. Here we go. We do kill the tank. We're joining for a Neo, I assume. There it is. And then base skip here. Base skipping here. Okay. I was considering a Neo. I think it's okay. AWBW999 can't really afford to build a Neo of their own, and there's still more tanks come in after the artillery, so it won't be at least it won't be at full to well, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I'm trying to see what kind of blocking we can do. I mean, this infantry can go here, the medium tank will be here. Yeah, knock this down to 1, kill that off. The artillery will be able to hit this Neo tank, I think. Well, at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay. Another medium tank. We're getting expensive chaining. This artillery will start to get involved. It could be that Poland should have just waited 1 turn so this artillery could already be involved in the fight. Wouldn't the medium be enough? It would reach. Sacked. Okay. Oh, Adept didn't block this city? What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this doesn't work to hit the artillery, so this definitely should have gone to block this. Okay, this did get knocked down to 4. That's pretty good. And then this pipe seam's gonna fall. Copters will start flooding in, or the bombers can be bought. Adept does start getting these captures. Adept is way behind in unit value. Oh my gosh. Must be up in infantry by 7. Okay, do hit the Neo with the medium tank. There's another artillery. Neo gets built here. Adept is a little bit ahead in income. What's really good for Adept right now is that sheer number of infantry does mean that all of these properties that aren't in this like densely unit value area should just fall to Adept's just superior number of infantry. So as long as Adept loses slowly over here, it'll be totally fine. I'm feeling like this artillery being just one turn behind where it normally would be, just because it was delayed to get this property, is really costing Poland here. Like, it would be so good here, like covering this Neo tank. Center is looking yellow. I mean, there's only 2 properties. One does get the kill on that artillery. We do smack here. It's down to 1. These guys do show up, which is really good now. This has been broken. I assume Poland just buys a bomber. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you say, what does this base even do? It can't build an anti-air because that will just lose to the bomber swings. There's the bomber. And Poland kind of desperately needs to kill this base because things aren't looking great elsewhere on the map. But when you're an entire base up, like, you can be much worse elsewhere and be fine. So what does this even do? You can build a... well, if you have something blocking here, you can build a cruiser and an anti-air. Okay, the fighter just gets built down here, and then we have a mech. This base should die. Well, there's not that many infantry incoming. That is up by 3k. Is getting this capture. See this capture? Probably. Okay, Poland did get this city. Interrupt here. Still got a pretty big fight going on here. Bomber just hits the mech from the forest. Fuck that stuff off, I guess. Did shoot the Neo, but it's still living. Another artillery gets built over here. This one just backs up. Copter to follow the bomber. Should probably build an anti-air to intercept this fighter. Okay, App is now at 27k. Fighter zooms over here. Yeah. All of these infantry are getting taken out. There's just... Adept has gotten so much done with just a single artillery attacking in here. And a huge wave of infantry. Okay, the Neo's like, I'm out of here. That bomber is a problem. And I agree, that bomber is a problem. We're up 4k for now. All those cities about to fall. Gets bought. It's actually pretty nice. If that stops. I don't think the bomber kills an infantry in one hit. I could be wrong. I don't think it does. Which means that it delays the base capture by a whole turn. Great. Oh, never mind. The Neo tank can just come in. I take that back. Ooh, and this Neo tank can't reach this over here. Ooh. Doesn't get broken. Unless Adept uses the power and kills this Neo tank with a medium tank. We can have a bigger swing. Probably not worth it. Okay. Ooh, this artillery got hit down here, which is good for Poland. still really far behind in unit count, which I assume is all infantry, 17 to 28. Yeah. We have the Black Storm. So I assume this is to delay this base capture. I'm not super sold on it, but we'll see how it goes. Is it only like this kind of only matters if the base survives? And I'm not convinced it can survive. Although, well, okay, maybe it can. I mean, this Neo tank can come in and hit at artillery too. The fighter can hit the bomber. Oh, okay, never mind. That does it. Yeah, the battleship. That is such a good battleship buy. I did not even consider that. So the battleship, of course, threatens to clear the base, but it also stops this infantry from joining this. And it's covered by a fighter. That's got to be one of the best battleship buys I've ever seen. But the base skips. I think you're okay when you're 12 units up to go for some base skips to save an entire base. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Wow. I mean, I don't think I would have seen that coming. Poland does get the second super, which is really nice. Look at all these caps and interrupts. Okay, bomber comes in, kills the Neo tank. You hit the battleship, of course. Yeah, there's nothing to join cap this. But there's also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't think the battleship kills this. Everything that was in range of hitting it got taken out besides the battleship. Which is probably a bit of a misplay on Adept's side. Just needed like one more thing. Tank can't reach this infantry. Fighter, of course, can't hit it. The fighter's gonna go after the bomber. Oh, never. Oh my god, that gets the kill. Never mind. I take it all back. Battleship's good enough. Now the question is, does the fighter even go for the bomber, or does it go for the copter? Because if you go for the bomber, you get hit by an anti-air, and you're really sad. But at the same time, you do get hit. Okay, Adept is now 6k up. This base is getting absolutely pestered by infantry. We do have an artillery staring at this battleship. Just kind of sad days for the battleship. We do decide to go after the battlecopter. And yeah, an anti-air makes sense. Although I feel like if you're going to go with the anti-air buy, you go after the bomber. Because I'm pretty sure Poland can just fly in, smack, clear this again. Okay, we are pestering these infantry. Oh, Poland decides to focus on the bomber, or on the battleship. The bomber doesn't want to go in for the anti-air hit. Yeah, it's just gonna go for the tank. Okay. Nope, maybe that doesn't kill with the bomber and the infantry and the battlecopter. Or maybe like it just doesn't work out with that fighter still being there. Ooh, we have a cute little surround here. Although I think it's... Does the fighter just get to live now? Because this like clears here and the anti-air hits the bomber. Never mind, we're gonna shoot the artillery. Try and preserve the battleship, I guess. I don't know if that works. Oh, we'll find out. This poor base is just overwhelmed by the units. It's like all of these units beat these units, but there's just too many of them. Okay, just go and hit with the fighter, build another anti-air. I mean, it does look like this base has survived, which is really bad news for Poland. I mean, I think at this point you can kind of just resign. Because this attacking force can no longer overwhelm the base. Downs. Well, I mean, I guess there's some captures that are looking kind of promising. Down 8k. I mean, Poland is up a lot in unit value. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it's not quite resigned here. But failing to kill the base hurts a lot. I mean, Poland's down 10k in income currently. Although I think this one will go through, so it won't be 10k for that much longer. You shoot the anti-air, then hit it and block with the infantry, maybe? Now just down 8k. There's not quite enough artillery with this flock of infantry, so they're starting to get picked off. There's the infantry block. Base looks a little vulnerable. It's a little vulnerable. But this is like the best day this base has ever seen in comparison to all of those other days. Flying with the copter, right out of anti-air range. Adept has lost that huge unit count advantage, which is usually really hard to do, but I guess a lot of infantry kind of sacrifice themselves to get these captures. Cranking out tanks so far. I mean, you can always build a battleship here too. Medium tank scoots forward here. There is an infantry. Try and get some more captures. Poland does get another one here, so only down 6k now. That's not so bad. Does go for the harbor. 1 health bomber doesn't have anything that can kill it, so it's just poking away. Dive in to kill this anti-air. That's pretty nice. Okay. Alright, things are looking fine. I like the capture on this harbor. I feel like Adept could have stopped that. I mean, could go for another super, I guess. Nope, just gonna let this go. Okay. Join the tanks here, build the battleship down here. Alright. And just an infantry here. After the base fought so long to defend itself, it's gonna gonna let itself get overrun. You've been doing your calculations with Notepad instead of Excel. Both saved your bases, yeah. Oh. This base fought so hard to survive. It just kind of died. Is the same thing going to happen over here? Is this base also just going to die? Yep. What is that? Okay. I feel like attacking into this battleship was just really bad. Did like 1 damage. It took all of the units away from the base. That was so weird. You guys defended your bases so well, and then suddenly you're like, you know what? You can have it. You attacked me with 2 injured vehicles and an infantry. You can have it. Battleship is used on the infantry to allow the medium tank strike, I guess? Or I guess copter medium tank? What? Why? What? You just go here and put the artillery here. Okay. I also wasn't interested in having the base in turn earlier. What else could you do? I get you. I mean, Poland, you kind of have to wait with this infantry in respect, right? This poor anti-air. What's it even doing here? It's just waiting to die. Okay. Base is fallen. Poland is on the way. Gonna try and save this one. Okay. Bomber's still living his life. It's all out of ammo. It's down to 8 fuel and it has 1 hit point. That's a bomber with a life well lived. You can just ensure it doesn't interrupt by blocking with an artillery in the woods. The bomber can't reach, but also can't interrupt. Okay. Oh, the economy's even. For now. Poland actually only has 1 lab right now. Although this is probably gonna go through. Base gets taken. Bomber moves out. Or battleship, I mean. We're at 3 fuel. Didn't build an APC to save the bomber. Yeah, it's not even anymore. But it's about to be even because both of these fall. Well, those two central captures are about to matter quite a bit. Maybe this is a good time to offer a draw. Map gets split. Top and bottom. This is what Elise like dreamed of would happen. Poland has a little death ball way over here. Okay. Adept. Like, well, then I'll just attack. Okay. Seems decent. Battleship's sort of involved. I assume the plan here is to try and isolate all of these units from the fight. I mean, Poland's reinforcements are kind of garbage for an ongoing fight. It's just a bunch of artillery. Artillery are really bad as reinforcements for ongoing fights because they can't move and shoot. So they're really good when you're retreating from a fight. You can retreat to your reinforcing artillery, and they're really good before a fight. They can set up. But during a fight, they really suck as reinforcements. At this point, you're going berserk. Ooh, Poland pops the super first on a massive board. Does get some kills. It has to get a lot of kills on a board this big. I mean, I don't think it matters for these ones. It's gonna matter here though. Oh, it doesn't get the kill. Oh no. This looks very painful. We do break through here though. It's kind of nice. Yeah, it's kind of nice. Some good damage. This is going to be one of the best Hawke supers I've ever seen. So, looks like we healed about 30,000. Is that 40,000 dealt? No, it's just 30,000. Okay, it was 30,000 heal, 30,000 deal. A nice 60,000 value Hawke super. I think I have seen better. But that's still really good. Smackety smackety. The anti-air are left. Look at this. Okay, at the end of Adept's turn, it's 80,000. Well, not quite 80,000. Adept is double the unit value. At the start, Adept was 50k down. So Poland went down by half that turn. Ow. Funny way of spelling eagle. Hawke mirrors, I do agree, they are miserable. Eagle mirrors are also miserable. He's pouring artillery shots. Wow. What? The 1 health infantry lives against a 1 health tank shot from Hawke? That was a very healthy 1 health infantry. I mean, it does have the power, the defense, but still, that's a 20% firepower attack. Yeah, serious +10/+10 moment. Oh my gosh, that hurts to see. At the end of Poland's turn in a brawl, Poland is down 20k value. And that's really nasty because brawls are known for being very swingy. So oftentimes it's you know, you start really low and then you end way above your opponent, and then they go and they get all their attacks. And it's still being very swingy. Surprised this anti-air decided to back off. I guess it's the only one over here, so it needs to be preserved, and Poland resigns. GG. That was quite the game. I still can't get over how you guys just... You fought so hard. I'll preserve my base, and then you're both at the same time like, yeah, whatever, man. You can have it. Like, what was the attacking force coming in on this base? Like, look at this. A 6 health artillery, a tank, and an infantry. And and it's just like, whatever, man. Just take it. Death, destruction, lost battleships. The battleship buy was really good. So we're doing Quacker Duck versus Lazyboi. It's way down here. Good night, Poland. You into cold ice. We have Drake versus Andy, a classic matchup. Oh, I'm glad you joined. This is the last replay for the stream. Here we go. Quacker Duck versus Lazyboi. It's Andy versus Drake. What's nice in the Andy versus Drake matchup is these are both COs that are usually heavily orientated around their supers, but when they're against each other, suddenly their normal powers become very valid. Did you want me to allow the pre-deployed to face the wrong way? Oh, okay. I can, in the future, we can have the moon walking units. It's fine. But yeah, so suddenly just relying purely on the supers as kind of like, I have it, I should use it, is kind of bad here. Is if Drake just, pops the super as he would in other matchups, just because, like, it's a funny button, I press it, Andy can just heal that off, and then none of that damage sticks. And similarly, if Andy's like, ooh, I can use my super to, get a decent attack here, then Drake can suddenly hit his super and the damage does stick because Andy's all out of charge. So instead, Drake wants to use either the normal power or the super when an opportunity arises that allows for a lot of kills to weaken Andy. This is very unfortunate. Quacker Duck, it makes sense. The tank doesn't really want to move onto one of these planes to reveal the city, but this infantry gets trapped, and then the tank goes on the city. If the tank had moved in, with a scene here and infantry would have struck, I think it's safe. It definitely is safe to go for that move, because this tank got here in 1 turn after buying, and it takes more than 1 turn after buying in order to threaten this tile. So that would have been completely safe to check. It would have been nice. I mean, this is a fine map to use, Drake. Any map that has a lot of units on it is going to be really good for global damage. I mean, the lander also benefits with the extra movement. And defense. Yeah, the airports are decent. They can definitely fly straight into the center. But Drake can still use them pretty effectively, and you can still use the transport copter stuff. Ah, the stream is fine. Okay, Cracker Duck just goes for this thing now. Fine, I assume that's going to get interrupted. lazyboi with the strike gets the tank first strike. Very nice. Drop off the infantry on captures. lazyboi is up 5k at the end of their turn. And it looks like Quacker Duck is only capturing... No, Quacker Duck is capturing 5. So it's not so bad. It's like a tiny bit behind in economy, but not much. Just because you should be ending half a turn ahead. As the first turn advantage balance dictates. But the capture routes for the 2 players have been a little bit different. As you can see, lazyboi has been going for the center much more heavily, and there's more properties there. But the trick is whether or not you can hold the properties, not so much if you can initially take them. As we brought up in the Sami versus Olaf game. Huge vehicle investment down here. So they're not going up to defend these central properties, which would lead me to believe that these will not be holdable. But we'll see. Quacker Duck might not go for them. Seems so far Quacker Duck is not interested in them. Okay. Instead, there's just going to be a big old fight around this comm tower. And now the tanks are starting to move up into the center. Quacker Duck does attack here. This tank is definitely a little vulnerable. It's in the woods, which is nice. But it has no vehicle backup, just infantry. Ooh, the... You know, I was saying, you don't want to lead with your copters in fog. Smackety smack. Tank goes down. lazyboi looking really happy. Drop off the anti-air here. Neo tank by. Copter comes in. This anti-air does go down, so this is definitely a happy copter. I think Quacker Duck starts getting these central captures. They haven't been interrupted, so that has helped catch up in that economic situation. But still ends even-ish in unit value and even in unit count, so a little bit behind, about half a turn behind where they'd want to be. Your stream starts randomly dying, but not when you say rip. Let me check to see if it's been dying. It has not been dying on my end. Okay, do stop that city capture. Recon comes in, sees some great stuff. But this copter's still doing fine. We could dive in and hit it, but you don't really want to hit Andy copter with your Drake copter, because Andy can, in theory, heal off that damage. And you'd really prefer to keep these Drake copters safe until the super hits. And suddenly they can go after 8 health units. Team tank kills off. I guess taken out too. Denying the vision is really good strategy. The medium tanks are also great units because they're fairly difficult to kill. And Andy loves units like that. Now, once the Neo tank shows up, it's still one move out of range here. But once the Neo tank shows up, suddenly those medium tanks will be really sad because they will become fairly easy to kill instead. Property does get interrupted. They're now even in economy. Almost everything's been captured. Okay. Very good idea to build these recons because all of them got taken out. You really need the vision enabled in order to make intelligent choices with your army. And you can see that both players are just camping out on their powers, and this can sometimes happen. It'll just become a game of chicken. Like, who's forced into using a power first? To attack here. This is in the woods. Okay, here we go. We have the tsunami. It's just going to be the Drake normal power. Okay. That's enough to kill off that medium tank. It will save the charge. Now, the Drake super is still decent against Andy because of the rain. Slowing down the vehicles, the land vehicles, over plains and woods. You can sometimes mess with Andy because if he goes for the super, part of that is like movement boost. What if you blame me instead? There we go. The response super. Andy heals off all of that damage. Could have used a normal power, but this does give extra movement. Allows this capture. And the Neo gets taken out. Looking pretty good for Quacker Duck. The Neo loss hurts a lot. Now this medium tank. What do you do? Anti-air gets some cool kills though. But there's no anti-air here. This is a unanswered Drake copter. Got some infantry aggression happening at the top, which is very good for lazyboi. If the vehicles get forced away from coming down to reinforce, deal with some infantry that can oftentimes very I like it. I think this game happened before the patch. So basically, before the patch, you could put injured units into your transports on top of like this HQ, and it would repair the units inside the transport. You get double repairs. I think this game was before that. They changed it so that no longer worked because if it's a change that makes the game less fun, they'll do that, but they won't make Sonya better. They won't. No, just kidding. There's a very big attitude of being true to the cartridge games. Yeah, that Andy medium tank got absolutely annihilated by the Neo tank. This is a pretty good Drake power. We're getting a lot of kills from it. That's exactly what you want. Okay, so I assume Quacker Duck is going to use the normal power. Super repair. The shade. Look. I liked it. I thought it was a fun little feature. We're about to find out if it's been changed. I think it sets a bad precedent that got changed. Because if that got changed, I mean, the eyes have got to be on boosting next, right? And, I mean, I think boosting is very important. No boosties equal riot. So since these are still being kept in here, I'm going to assume this is before the change. Cookie Lamb, doing pretty well. You've caught the end of the stream. Neotake is living the dream. Just getting kills. There isn't really anything from Quacker Duck to deal with this Neotake. Just the medium tanks running around. What is this copter? Oh, this is the copter's running out of fuel. So it has to just go in. That's a gutsy move. I think lazyboi is going to be able to just run up here and annihilate stuff. Just needs the normal power. Oh, never mind. It's just going to kill stuff down here. I think that's probably fair. These are looking very good for lazyboi. Quacker Duck is trying to fall back from this fight in the Neotake. Okay, now we got Bomber and we have a Neotake coming, so there is no longer going to be an unanswered Neotake. We have a Drake Bomber, though. Pretty spicy. And here comes another Neotake. Quacker Duck goes for this central city capture. I assume lazyboi is going to go for this capture. Might just try and skip straight to the comm tower. Okay, he's going to skip straight to the comm tower. Never mind. Is going to go for this capture and set up for a joint cap. Axe in here. So this is another thing that can be nice for Drake. Not just Drake, but because Drake doesn't care as much for his copters and really likes getting powers, oftentimes they can be used as sacrifices. I think that this matchup is even, personally. I think it's a very good matchup. I think both COs make the other one play differently. Air sacrifices for the sea gods. Ooh, there's the Typhoon. Which of course hits the vision, and it also makes the planes really unhappy for Andy's ground units. Oh, all of that stuff just got absolutely annihilated. Quacker Duck goes for the heal. Poor Neotank can't see the infantry in front of it. Goodbye, Neotank. Bye, Bomber. Quacker Duck has resigned. Yeah, I think there was definitely some questionable Andy plays there. It's a tough matchup because it's, you know, you play Drake, you play Andy, and then against almost everyone else, they have like a certain way they play, and then against each other, it's completely different. But there we go. GG. Well played, lazyboi. Well played, Quacker Duck. I'll end the stream there as we just now hit the 2-hour mark. Oh my god, that made me evil. There we go. There's an apple for everyone to enjoy. I hoped you had fun watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
It's Go7. Go7, king of the penguins. Of all the penguins, he is king. It's Go7, king of the penguins. Being king of the penguins, that's his thing.